What's so hard about leaving home?
We're not scared.
Disney, you suck. Sometimes the fastest way I can make you roll your eyes is by saying kids movies with CGI talking animals interacting with humans. Outside of the Sonic movies, those types of films I mentioned don't exactly have the reputation of being associated with good quality. Nowadays, aside from Sonic and Paddington, you get a decent one at best, and then you get absolute irredeemable garbage that gives you diarrhea at worst. Maybe I am exaggerating and I'm missing a couple of hidden gems that I've never seen. In fact, there are rare times where movies of that subgenre can be genuinely good and can be taken somewhat seriously. That being said, I'm not gonna be blinded by nostalgia and pretend that everything from the past is better because, to be honest, plenty of these movies from the early 2000s are pretty awful. I do have some personal guilty pleasures. If anything, the Paddington films are the best of the subgenre that it has to offer, and they are modern movies. In short, more times than not, these kinds of movies are not very good. Enter 2026, Sheep Detectives, a family-friendly whodunit film about a group of sheeps trying to solve the murder of their shepherd, played by Hugh Jackman. Directed by the guy who made Minions, Despicable Me 3, and Minions: The Rise of Gru. Movies I clearly do not like. But it's written by Craig Mazin. I've just seen it. This is incredible and the second best movie of the year next to Project Hail Mary, what the f***? Hell yeah, I knew the guy who wrote Hangover 3 and Scary Movie 4 could do nothing wrong. But seriously, this movie is way better than I expected. It's so f***ing good. Go see it if you can and haven't already. It's wholesome. Get ready for a sheer amount of sheep puns in this review. When I first heard of this movie and saw just posters and thumbnails of the trailers, my reaction was a tad bit cynical, thinking, oh, it's just another generic kids movie with CGI talking animals and big name actors. Been there, done that, I could probably just skip. But I saw some trailers, some clips, and some of the positive reviews kind of won me over. I am surprised by how initially skeptical I was because this movie actually has things that would appeal to me. I like sheep. Sheep are cool. Shaun the Sheep is one of my favorite shows growing up as a kid. And yeah, I made a damn good decision to watch this. I had a great time. It's basically Knives Out but family friendly. Also, this is probably Hugh Jackman's easiest paycheck in a while. But the fact that he is in this movie alone makes for some pretty funny marketing. Pretty stacked cast actually. Now, normally I would break down into chapters for these kinds of reviews, but maybe not this one. I have so much to say at the same time that it's kind of difficult to. But as usual, I'll start with the animation. The CGI on all the sheep are pretty damn good. It's aiming for realism, the textures of the wool, the fur, it's extremely detailed, but at the same time, they can look very expressive in certain parts of the movie, without it looking uncanny like the Mufasa movie. It strikes a perfect balance of having CGI animals look realistic, but still be able to communicate different emotions through mannerisms and expressions more than animals in real life would do. Not a lot of films manage to do that, which to me is very good CGI animation. In the past, with movies like Babe or almost every talking dog movie, they use real animals, but their mouths are the only thing that are animated on computers. Then you have Lion King 2019, where the goal is to make the most realistic looking animated film possible because this is not a live action film, it remains an animated film. Or if I'm going to be a dick, which I am, it's a f***ing tech demo cash grab. Not to talk down on the quality of the animation in the Lion King 2019 in itself, the VFX work there is remarkable. But the animals are just not expressive at all, given their intent, so I'm not really feeling shit. They took that criticism and tried to improve with Mufasa, but Sheep Detectives is one of the better examples out there. The artists at VFX Frame Store, I think it's the name of their studio, they did an amazing job. Their previous works consist of Paddington in Peru and a plethora of other films, including Disney remakes. I guess sometimes it depends on how good the director is. And the movie looks nice, it's colorful at times, it's surprisingly well directed, coming from the guy with this kind of track record, but I guess it's what happens when you let a director take a lot more creative liberties and work with a good writer, rather than checking boxes and direct a kids movie under the standards of Illumination. They do actually have built practical sheep during filming, which is cool to see in the behind the scenes. Other than that, one of the highlights and what made this movie very enjoyable for me is the writing. I don't know if it's just because my standards got lower or mainstream family movies just got worse in quality these past few years. Granted, I have subjugated myself to the most dopamine-fueled movie with zero substance last month. So seeing the Sheep Detectives felt like an actual whiplash. This movie is smart. It treats both kids and adults with respect, it cares about the story, it cares about details, and makes a compelling murder mystery that isn't always just simple and might even confuse kids. But that's the point, it's not dumbing things down for kids, it trusts their intelligence enough to slowly connect the dots and invites them to go along for the ride. And it's fun for the teens and the adults too. I've seen people said the murderer was obvious. I'll be perfectly honest, I myself did not catch it that quickly. And it's not just the murder mystery that was well written in the film, even if that is the bulk of the story. It does get dark at times. It does deal with heavy subjects and themes about loss and how hard it is sometimes to accept reality without being sheepish about it, while still having plenty of fun and light moments, like one does not downplay the other. The thing with watching family movies these days is you would have things like Mario Galaxy or Smurfs that inherently have extremely goofy concepts, such as Italian plumbers battling toads or a civilization of tiny blue people in a magical forest fighting against a wizard. But that's an excuse for them to make the lowest common denominator, uncreative kind of movie with TikTok pacing that treat kids like they're fucking stupid because the concept is silly. I'm obviously not saying all modern Hollywood animated films are this way. Here are some recent ones I enjoyed. But then something like Sheep Detectives comes in that on the surface does have a silly concept, and it does have plenty of silly moments in the movie, but it's intelligent and emotional and just well written overall that it makes me remember what the standards for good family films should be. Speaking of silly things, the humor in this movie, while not highbrow, it has that genuine charm to it. Lots of sheep-based humor, but it never felt like low-hanging fruit to me. In fact, there are a couple of well-timed jokes and lines that got a couple of genuine chuckles out of me. One of the bigger laughs I had in the movie is this running gag where some of the sheep just stare menacingly at the cop, but that's their only way of communication to the humans. I do also enjoy most of the characters in this movie. For the sheep, we mostly follow Lily, the smartest one of the flock. Or so we thought. Moppo, the sheep that has the best memory, Sebastian, my personal favorite, has a lot of depth, and the fact that dude spends a good portion of the movie aura farming alone on cliffs. Then you have the little winter lamb, who's ostracized from the flock because he's born in the winter, so the sheep are just racist to him for that reason only. As I was watching the movie, there are at least 3 times where one of the sheep is being rude to this poor f***er for no reason, and I kept thinking, you sons of bitches, what the hell? Some of you are the reasons why Doner Kebab exists. On the human side, you got the bumbling cop, a photographer, George's daughter. We follow those 3 the most, but there are other side characters who are involved in this whole situation because anyone can be the suspect. What I really enjoyed is that almost every side character in this movie actually serve a purpose to forward the story other than you knowing what their personalities are or just being a physical presence in scenes. Which, again, should be the standard, but given the types of kids movies I've been seeing, I was pleasantly surprised here. There are jokes in the movie revolving specific characters that could just be one-off jokes in the hands of a more indifferent writer, but they get payoff in the end. There are lines and details in the movie involving characters like Sebastian and Moppo that serve to give traits and nuance to those two, which that in of itself is already decent, but then they continue to develop it deeper, and it goes to an emotional direction that I didn't expect. Most of the movie you experience things through the POV of Lily, and because she's the smartest one of the flock, she's knowledgeable enough about solving mysteries thanks to the stories that George would tell the sheep every night. But it doesn't mean she's always right, and she does eventually face different beliefs and perspectives from other sheep that challenge her. There's especially a great moment where Moppo helps Lily go through several realizations of things that she feels very uncomfortable about, but it's never done in this dark or bleak way. It's bittersweet. The movie also cleverly uses the misconceptions people have about sheep that they are not intelligent animals, including an emphasis on how they forget things. But they get creative with that, and it makes for some good jokes and good character development, which that one in particular, they twist the perception that sheep are dumb animals. In case I haven't said it already, the movie is emotional. Like, the very last couple minutes of this movie was a train speeding full ahead for that gut punch. Got me good, like, ooh, that hurts. Yeah, what a surprise this was, genuinely, and you know what? We need more movies like this. This year had a couple of hope-filled movies that are also good at the same time. I can add the Sheep Detectives to that list. For a quote-unquote original family movie, it's doing okay at the box office for its first week, but Man, I wish it's gonna do much better given that its budget is 75 million. I hope it legs out thanks to word of mouth. Of course this will eventually have a big success on streaming, Prime Video specifically, and I still strongly believe that box office doesn't mean shit about a movie's quality, but I want good movies to succeed. I know most audiences don't care about that, they want sequels and remakes all day long, but I hope more people go see this movie, and I hope you go check it out and give it a shot. Also, all you bums who spend time on the internet saying dumb shit like no modern movie is good now, everything sucks, everything is trash, I know you're obsessed with negativity, but stop the culture war for a moment, drop your keyboard, and go see The Sheep Detectives. Especially if you still believe that you're in support of good movies, and you're not already an outraged culture warrior who lambasts everything. That's going to be the last sheep pun in this video. The Sheep Detectives is awesome.